Good morning. Be relieved to know this is not a free will video. I don't really know what it's about, whereas me brain seems to be able to plan free will videos. It's really struggled with this, and I decided the only way of doing it was to do it. So I'm doing it. Basically, it's about J.D. Salinger and television. Lunchtimes in the Mystic household, we listen to a story over luncheon. At the moment, we're listening to, we'll finish today I think, The Catcher in the Rye. Neither of us had come anywhere near it before. I'll just speak for me. I hadn't come anywhere near it before. I didn't know what it was about. I had this vague idea it was something about life, a hard life down in the south of America in the Depression days. But it looks like I was confusing it with another book. So it came as a shock, and an ongoing shock as it continued to be what it is. An absolutely dreadful book. Now, even allowing for the fact it's written in the late 40s or early 50s or whenever, I think it's around there, it's just simply dreadful. So, me brain thinks, well, why was this even written? Why was this written? So I had to look up J.D. Salinger to see why someone would write a book like this, and I found that he was an author. So I thought, well, okay, this makes it even more important, because if it was just somebody that kind of just wrote this, you could think, well, you know, it's a school essay that's for some reason taken the common imagination. But he was an author, so I think to myself, well, there must be some reason he was doing this, because it is so disastrously awful that there must be something more to it. So, over the last couple of days, I've watched 5 or 6 normal kind of, what do you call it in America, high school reviews, or even college reviews. Is it the same thing? I don't know. Reviews of this book, and, you know, bigging up its teenage angst, as people in America call it, which drives me mad. I like to say angst. So this teenage angst type thing, and pointing out elements of it about what the hat means, that it's his cuddle toy, and how terrible it was that he was in New York and went into a phone booth to call somebody up and went out without phoning anybody because he didn't have any friends that would listen to him. And I'm thinking, but this is so bad. It's picking out points and putting just pink candy floss on it for the sake of it. It's just, there's something dreadfully wrong either with J.D. Salinger or everybody that thinks it's a half-decent book and put on reading lists for various institutions. And yesterday in the evening I read one. I thought it was an hour long, so I thought this might be more like it. At least they'll dig a bit more deeply into what this might be all about. And I obviously didn't read the video on YouTube, the video title very well, because anyway, there was one bit in it which I appreciated, which I must admit I can't remember the words of it perfectly, but it was something along the lines of, this book was written as a means to destroy the brains of young or Juvenile America or something like this. And I thought, that is more like it. This is more what I would be thinking. That this is crap and would make impressionable brains even crappier. But of course that was all part of this Free Man Something website, which was all about conspiracy theory type things. And I thought, this is a dreadful shame. We've got the two, I always seem to wave my hands, doesn't matter what video it's in. You've got the college people saying what a great book of teenage angst it's all about. And a few, well, very, very, very few here saying it was a conscious effort to ruin the brains of teenage youth of America. Now, to my mind, this one is absolutely correct. But obviously, it comes from an incredibly dodgy source. Okay, I think I can talk a bit about the book. If the book on the surface is about anything, it's about the fact that teenagers realise that they will have to spend the rest of their lives pretending. This, what's his name? I forget the name of the protagonist in the book. Nelson something? I don't know. Holden Caulfield. He keeps saying things are so false. He's got another name for it, but I seem to be listening to it with a conscious effort to kind of bounce everything away. Saying everything is so false. And I think this is what younger people do notice about the adult world, that you have to be so false just about all the time. Interactions, most all interactions, unless they're perfectly work related about work and getting some project done, are just bimboing about with words. It's just nonsense. It's just, I will say the right thing, and then you will say the right thing, and then we've both said the right thing, so we both know that we are adults because we are both pretending. And that's what being an adult is, that you just say the right thing at the right time. Now, Holden Caulfield is pointing this out to a certain extent, but that can't surely be what the book's all about. But it is an important point to bring up. Society, civilization has obviously developed to where it is, using this code of adultness acceptance, this code of acceptance, where you're an acceptable person when you talk gibberish. You just say things for the sake of it. The normal things that I won't go into details. The normal things that people go around saying to each other. As I said in a couple of videos ago, it's just stroking. I stroke you, you stroke me. We know we're both safe. We can move on. We're both adults. It's kind of a code to say we both live in the adult world. We are. What can we do with this one? We're both adults. We are civilized. Okay. I'll kind of leave this, the Catcher in the Rye thing. No, I won't quite. Because what I decided was that an author, and J.D. Salinger was an author, if he was going to write a book like this, I mean, why would he write it? You think, well, because it was going to be a great hit, but he didn't know that. You could really be mocked, I would have thought, kicked out of school, writers' school, for writing such absolute tosh. So he had, to my mind, have ulterior motives, a bit like these conspiracy theory people. And I was quite happy to listen to some of these conspiracy theories about J.D. Salinger and what he might be up to about Masonic this, that and the other. And the conspiracy people review of the book was much more what I could go with than the absolute nonsense that these college people were talking. And there are, because the book's written, to me, it just looks and sounds like go to the garden on the black night and see the well. It's like a code, the top of a code, when you know that there's something below it, because the go to the garden on a black night and see the well is just such awful nonsense, and that's what the book on the surface is, awful nonsense, that there has to be something below it. Now, being that sort of person that always likes to do things with things going on below it, at least one level and maybe two levels, I might even reread the book and try and find, I'm not going to tell you what I think, because it would be irrelevant. But me brain here just listens to it and goes, this cannot be on the surface what it is, because it is so goddamn awful. There must be something below it. And when you listen to these conspiracy theories talking about Masonic things and paedophilia, you go, well, that's much more to the point than the other people saying it's all about teenage angst and relating to young Holden Caulfield, whose age seems to be absolutely crucial to the book. And some say 16, some say 17, some say 18, but it's utterly crucial. But it would be crucial if it was just this, but it must be something more. Anyway, I noticed from this lot, the conspiracy theory people talking, it was, I don't know quite what they were on about. It seems like it was a governmental design to dumb the people down, which brought me to television, which brings me to the second part of this video, which will end very quickly because I don't know. I have this thing about television. I don't know what it is that, when it's on in the room and I can't avoid watching it, like say if I'm happens to be in England with my mother and she's watching it and I'm in the same room, I'll lap it up. I'll watch every moment, watch every corner of the screen and try and get out of it what I can. But I hate it. And then adverts come on and blare at you. I hate it. It drives me mad. And I know at night I just feel twisted by it. And maybe I think what might be going on is I'm naturally becoming bitter and twisted and not liking the way other people talk about things, and all other people watch television, so I kind of blame them as being bitter and twisted by the television, giving me an excuse not to talk to them, or something like that. In other words, I'm projecting my feeling that they're awful on the television, making them awful, when they probably aren't. They're probably just, well, obviously, they are perfectly normal people doing perfectly normal things, watching television and stroking each other and talking nonsense. And I am I'm the one in a polytunnel in France that beside Mrs. Mystic I won't speak to anybody else during the entire day. So I do appreciate that it's me that's out of step. But there's this thing that the mystic brain has about television and television, television, and sitting in front of it and going, but I don't know what it is. I've never known what it is. I'd like to be able to analyse it in a critical way and say that it's this, this and this that's doing this, this and this, but absolutely nothing has ever come to me. of why it's such a lousy, terrible thing. But I have this such strong feeling that it is a lousy, terrible thing. And it rather annoys me, because most times I like to at least be able to drag up a cute next door's donkey, to drag up some sort of reasoning for things, to put a label on it and say, this is why I think this. But for televisions, I have one of the stronger feelings that I have, but have no words to put on it, to say why I think it's so bad. Right, I think I'll stop there, because as you will have noticed, I didn't do much mystic planning for this video. So the coherent, like, okay, stop. There was always in my mind coherence about the Free Will series of videos. I kind of knew where I was going, but only kind of. I wouldn't have known what I was going to do in the next video, but there was an inner confidence that I knew what was going on. With this video, I had no inner confidence that it was going to flow out in any way, shape or form. I didn't know how it was going to go. And maybe you could notice the difference between the two videos. Why did I add this last bit on? I don't know. So, I think the conspiracy theory people have got a point, certainly with The Catcher in the Rye. And I'm not going to go into any more details about it. I'll talk to you in comments, obviously, but I can't see me making any more videos on that particular subject, because... But then, who knows? And television. I would be interested to read your thoughts of why you think that television might be so terrible. And maybe I could adopt them as my own, because although I feel it, I have not the words to express it. And I had a worrying thought a couple of weeks ago that I realised that it also knocks on to radio. And I thought, that's unfair, because they just sit on the radio and play music most of the time and put the news on at the top of the hour. And I thought, I must be just getting old and grumpy, which is probably the explanation of it all. Right.